I'm Steve, this is Luke, we're Mindsnaps, and we enable powerful conversations about mental health topics using photography. Each month we have a different subject, and this month we are going to be talking about suicide. It's important to note that some of the things we're going to be talking about might be triggering to people, and people can always turn off, and we're going to help you with some reference points about where to get help if you need it. But I think it's really important that we talk about these subjects, and we're going to be talking about some hard things when it comes to suicide. And Luke, you've got some stats there, haven't you?
Yeah, so I thought it'd be quite a good place to start because obviously, well, first of all, this wasn't the sort of conversation that I was looking forward to talk about really, but you're right, we should talk about it more.
Yeah.
But I thought the stats would be the best place to start really, just to sort of signify what a problem it is in the UK. So these stats are all from the Office of National Statistics. In 2023, there were 6,069 suicides in England and Wales. And from 2022, there was only 5,642. So that's makes 2023 the highest since 1999. So that's quite significant. Now, 3/4 of all suicides were male, which is quite a powerful thing to sort of think about. 8 times greater risk of suicide if you're diagnosed with a mental health condition. Unemployed people are 2.5 times higher. Men in manual or low-paid jobs are 3 times higher. They were just the snippets I got, which I just thought would be, a good place to start.
And that's kind of what got me into becoming a therapist. I was reading Matt Haig's book, I think, about how to stay alive, and he was talking about suicide. And I've had suicide in my life with a friend that we had, and I could kind of see the problems with men and talking about these things. And those stats, they're terrifying. And I think the problem with men is that we don't talk about things, and we don't like accessing support for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we don't end up talking about it, and we end up internalizing it and not speaking about it. And that's why those problems sort of grow and manifest, and people see there's no other option, which is what suicide is, right? It's about not wanting to die. It's about not wanting to live. And it's really key that we look at that as well.
Yeah, it's the biggest killer of men under 50 in the UK. It's frightening, isn't it?
Really terrifying.
Frightening. That's the thing which is killing us.
Yeah.
When you compare it to the traffic accidents, gun crime, knife crime, all of that violence. It's our own.
Yeah, we're doing it ourselves. And the thing is, with men, the reason it's also critical with men is that men also choose types of suicide which is more extreme, like jumping in front of a train, like jumping off a building. They don't tend to go down the route so much of overdose and things, which, and again, I'm not judging anything. I'm just saying they're more extreme the way they do it. So
they're definitely going to do it.
Correct,
It's not a cry for help.
No.
It's I'm going to do it.
Yeah. But one of the things I'm passionate about with this as well is like I think I mentioned to you earlier, Voldemort. We do need to talk about this. It's like Harry Potter and Voldemort, where they say you can't say his name. Nobody talks about suicide. You don't sit with your mates saying, have you thought about suicide? Or, we almost feel saying the word makes it real, but it doesn't. We just need to talk, we need to have those conversations with our loved ones, with our friends, and if we notice the signs, we need to say, I'm here. We can talk about it. It's so important to get that right. Yeah,
there's a bit of a myth out there that if you don't want to plant the seed by mentioning it.
Yeah.
Which is apparently, they've done studies, and the evidence suggests that's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
You're not going to, just because you've said the word suicide, it doesn't mean someone's going to mean, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. If it's already in their mind, it's already in their mind. And they, what happens, I in my work as a therapist, you need to be very mindful of, but it's people's choices. I'm not going to stop people committing suicide. Even when I say the word, it feels wrong. It's a word that we don't use in society. But Yeah, so I'm not going to stop people doing that, but what I want to do is give people the opportunity to be able to talk about some of the things on their mind and what's bothering them, you know. And I haven't got the solutions that say all your therapists wouldn't have the solutions, but at least you can talk about it and it's not all in your head.
Yeah.
Growing and growing and you don't know what to do about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, I relate that back to when I was in the police, and obviously we used to deal with people often be called out for suicide attempts. I hate to say it, but sometimes, you know, when they've actually gone through it as well,
Yeah,
and seeing the aftermath of it and dealing with the loved ones they've left behind and all that side of things as well. But, you know, I think there's another myth out there that, you know, it's a cowardly thing to do, but I used to think almost opposite. I used to think it would almost be one of the bravest things, or say brave is the wrong word, but you'd have to have some real guts about you to do that. You know what I mean?
And I think what happens psychologically for people is they've tried all the things they can try. You know, they've tried to, let's say they're in debt, let's say their marriage is on the rocks, or their drug taking has got worse and worse, and they just can't. They've tried talking to the doctor, they've tried that, and they've got delayed, or they haven't got the job they wanted, and they just say, I can't do it. I'm hurting people around me, whatever. I can't see a way out of this. My only option is just to take my life, you know. And then they get it in their minds, and they've got nothing to keep them safe. Often when we talk to people in the therapy world, we're looking at things that keep them safe. So, for instance, it might be, well, I do think about it, but I'd never do it because of my kids. Do you know what I mean? And often that can keep them going. I wouldn't do it because my dad did it, and I know the devastation it did. And you look at the things that people have in their lives that keep them on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Even when the days are dark, they know that. Do you know what I mean? And if someone's involved in therapy and they've got suicidal thoughts and things, they can always, not even in therapy, if in life, they can always pick up the phone. They can always, if they've done something, they've taken something, or they're really frightened for their life, they can call 999. If they're worried a way it's going, they can call 111, and there's always a mental health person there who can help them. And if they just want to talk to someone, I don't mean that like I'm minimizing it, but they want to talk to someone, they don't really know what it is, call the Samaritans. You know, they're 24/7, 365. They're always there to be an ear that you can talk to, and sometimes that's just what you need.
It's as they say, that thing is good to talk.
It is. It is, and we don't.
That's all you need.
Yeah. I mean, we the other month we did gender roles, you know, and we're blokes, and you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. You know, that is us. That is how we work, and we don't say, no, life is really bad.
Yeah.
You know, we don't do it enough, and we need to.
It is, yeah. I think also talking about Samaritan stuff, there's also, you know, to have, and sometimes people aren't lucky enough to have people in their lives, but you may have that one friend where you can open up to.
Yeah.
And if you are in that time of crisis, they can be your support. They can be that person to sort of, I think I'd heard of a story of someone going through something similar, and they had a close friend of theirs, and this person suffered depression, and he knew that when he goes through that depression state, he struggled to even pick up the phone and talk to someone. But what he could do is send his friend an emoji, and that emoji meant, I'm not in a good place. And that friend used to just say, okay, send me that emoji again in 2 hours' time. Yeah. And it was just that constant communication. It took hardly no effort at all. You didn't have to think about it. But it was just someone there to be a safe port of call. And obviously, if that emoji didn't come through, they go and double check and make sure they're okay. So, but obviously, you know, Samaritans, like you said, is the next best thing, I suppose. And what's hard, and you know, this topic is suicide, and I know we're focusing on men here, but like you said, it's a major thing. One of the issues we have is friends and colleagues. If you say you're feeling a certain way, they'll want to
quite rightly want to fix it. They want to say, well, what's the problem? Why can't you do this? Why, you know, they'll throw things at you. And if you're in that place, you don't need those kind of things. You need to know, look, we care for you. We love you. You know, we're here for you. We're going to get through this. And, you know, tomorrow we're going to be doing something different. Tomorrow we can do this. Next week we're going to meet up. We'll go for a drink in a local pub, whatever, and we'll talk. You know, give people things to look forward to. Make people know they're committed to something, you know. That might be a decision that might stop them in that last second when they think, oh, no, I need to see my friends next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Giving people something to know they've got support moving forward is a really helpful thing when you're in a critical situation.
So I think it is quite important because to talk about how do you help someone in that situation. I think that's, you know, you're right to pick that up because, you know, sometimes if you're talking about suicide prevention, it's not so much for the person going through it, it's just as much for people around them.
Yeah.
And, you know, the signs they might need to watch out for has that person's behaviour changed?
Yeah.
You know, have they, you know, started giving away their items, or, you know,
Yeah.
those sort of key things. You might go, okay, I know they've had a bit of a bad spell, their relationships broke up or something, they're acting a bit strange and those sort of things. And I suppose in that point, I think the message out there is, if you suspect something might be happening, is to ask that question. Don't be shy about it. Like you've already said, that Voldemort sort of situation.
Yeah.
And actually, it's no problem to say to someone, "Have you had suicidal thoughts?"
Yeah.
And it's you know, those words are so powerful, but you know, what's the worst they can do? So, oh no, don't be silly.
Yeah. And the thing is, a couple of things on that. You're spot on right, and also ask again. You know, like I said at the start, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine.
But how are you?
But how are
it's
you
that
really?
Second one which counts. Yeah.
So important to do that second thing and to check in how they are and to remember and to show you care. Do you know what I mean? But you're not responsible for that person. And if that person ultimately decides to kill themselves, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
And that's a real key thing because there's a lot of...
That must be key in your job, like therapy, obviously, because obviously you and I suppose when I was in the police as well, I suppose it's a similar sort of thing. You can't be held responsible for what people's actions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And ultimately, all I can do is give them the, you know, and you know, you can say to a friend, look, I know you're really struggling. Do you want me to come to the doctors with you? Let's try that. I'll come with you, and you know, we'll do it together. Let's say, that's the kind of thing you can do to help. You know, if that person is really struggling, because your mind is probably switched on and you can do things. Their mind is muddled, focused on something else. You can say, look, I'm here. Not just, you know where I am if you need me.
No. Yes, that means don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
That's a blanket thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's easy. It's one of those. If you don't know what to say in that situation, it will come out your mouth.
Yeah, I do it 100 times.
Yeah, I do it. Everyone's done it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what to say in that situation, so you go, oh well, you know where I am if you need me.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? But
so I suppose
it means nothing.
It means almost less than nothing because it basically means. Yeah,
I don't care. I don't really care.
Yeah,
I don't want to get involved.
I'm going to back away from this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the go-to human reaction to that, isn't it? And I can imagine I would probably say, and I'd have to now talking about this. Hopefully, I'd sort of stop myself doing that.
Yeah.
But I think what I've also looked at is one of the things is key to if you are in that situation is the phrase "it will pass." That I think you've said as well. I think I saw the document we do a download. You put a document together for each topic, and on that, I think you sort of said something about it being
it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
That's it. I was going to do it the other way around. So I'm glad you. So I think with that phrase, "it will pass," is or something similar. Just to sort of say, although they may not think it or feel it. It's given them that hope, which obviously they've lost. The sun will come up tomorrow. It will be a new day. You know what I mean? And all right, you still might have the problems, but you will get through this, and it will be okay. And that's the trouble. But
when you get to that point, you've already told yourself it won't be okay. You've tried everything you think you can try. Do you know what I mean? But it's the horrible thing where everyone says time's a great healer, and it generally is. You know what I mean? But you don't know. People can have problems that aren't going to go. A terminal diagnosis. Do you know what I mean? There are problems that feel forever, and people lose hope. Do you know what I mean? But even with a terminal diagnosis, you can still find the reason to live within that. Do you see what I mean? But the initial reaction is something.
Because we've talked about trauma before, the stages of trauma, and I suppose
and loss,
and I suppose that terminal illness would be in that sort of category where there's a journey that people typically go through, and they might be on that part of a journey where they are angry about it and they're fighting against it, and the next stage might be a little bit more of, okay, how am I going to deal with this, or sort of fix it.
Well, the fix it room or the feel it room, and the feel it room might be, what's the point? There's no hope. The fix it room is, well, there's no way I can fix it, and then you go into this negative spiral. You know,
So but there might always be that other day where you're thinking differently about it. You know?
Absolutely, and there is no simple solution to anything like suicide. It isn't. You know, there isn't a simple solution on it. Everyone can throw loads of things, like we talked about things, but I think it's really key that we talk about it. It's really key that we keep it on the agenda for people, letting people know that it's okay to talk about suicide, and just remember the Voldemort thing. You know, it is okay to say it.
There are lots of places to get help and support. So what would you say would be the first port of call if someone's feeling that they are having suicidal thoughts?
It kind of depends on how critical the situation is. You know, think of it like a car, right? If you've broken down on the side of the road and the car's not working, you're not going to phone the garage to book in a service, okay? So you're going to call the AA to come out and fix you straight away. So if you're broken down on the side of the road, you need to call 999 saying there's a massive problem here. If your car is spitting, making noises, something like that, you might pull over at a service station and you might call the AA and say, look, I've got a problem, and you talk it through with them. So that's calling 111. You know what I mean? Not an emergency, but you do need help. You need to get something sorted. And always knowing you can check the manual, you can talk to the Samaritans at any point. Just think of it like that.
Yeah, that's quite good. And there are lots out there, but I think they're the key ones, aren't they? They're the key ones. The only other one which I would mention, which I think ties in quite nicely, which I'd definitely recommend lots of people to do, there's a organisation called Grassroots Suicide Prevention, and they have a free app you can download. And this app, you mentioned earlier on about the reasons why people may want to stay alive, like children. And so this app is something which I think is designed so you can have like an action plan. So when you're not in a bad sort of a state of mind, you're going to put all the information into this. You can put photos, you can put things that make you feel better, like going for a walk or, exercising, all of the stuff. And then hopefully you've got that to lean on when you are in that bad situation.
And I do that in a non-technical way. I get people to write themselves a letter when they're feeling in a good place about, look, this won't last forever. You can feel good again. Go for a walk, exactly what you said.
And I just think it's a free download app, and you can fill it all out. I know we've mentioned it before in our male support group we run. So but if I'll put a link to it as well. But that's something I would recommend doing or passing around or sharing.